Hi, this is Mrs. Graham, and we're going to learn about variables next. Hi, in today's lesson, you'll be learning about variables and expressions. Variables are one of the most important things we'll learn in algebra. Yes, I said algebra. Don't get nervous, and let's get started. The first part of learning about variables and expressions is we'll talk about the definition of variable. The definition of variable are letters or symbols that represent an unknown quantity. A variable underneath it says there is a nickname for an unknown number in math. So again, it's just trying to, instead of having the numbers, it's kind of like a puzzle. So if we look up here with our little princess, it says Princess Qualifita Bonsuato Verses, but you can call me Q. So instead of having to write that whole long name, she's giving herself a letter to represent it. So you don't have to try to get tongue-tied on that. And that's kind of what a variable is in math. It's a nickname or something that represents something else, but means the same thing. So as we continue on, we're going to look at multiplication, ways you can write this expression, 3 times m. So we can write this by saying 3 times m, 3 times m, 3 times m, or we can write it as 3. You'll see it sometimes with the computer. We'll print it like that, 3 times m, or 3 with the variable right next to it. The m is the variable in this situation. The most preferred way is to actually write it like this. And again, it means all the same thing, but when we look at this one, 3 times m, that multiplication sign there almost looks like a variable, right? It looks like the letter x, so we don't really like using that one. This one is fine with the dot. Parentheses mean multiplication. We've talked about that. If you have a number next to a parentheses like that with just one number in it, that's multiplication. And again, you'll sometimes see this because when you're typing on it, that symbol is used because it might not, you might not have the multiplication sign. But again, when we're working with variables, this is the most preferred way to do it. When we look at division, ways we can write 3 divided by m, we can write either 3 over m, 3 divided by m, 3 slash m, or we could do 3 divided by m. Those are different ways of to write division problems. Again, the most common or most preferred way of doing it would be 3 over m. We know that this looks like our fractions that we just got done with, right? That's like a fraction bar, and we know that the fraction bar means division. So when we're working with algebraic expressions, that's the most preferred way. These are still correct. However, sometimes can become more confusing, and this last example is probably not the best, just because it would be too much when you're actually trying to write out an expression. Okay, so as we continue on, the next one we're going to do is the product of, and product we know means multiplication, right? So I'm going to use the dot down here. The product of R and 8. Okay, and I'll even put that in there because we really should have everything highlighted just so it matches down here. Another way we can write that is 8 with R in parentheses, and then the way we like the best is just the number and the variable, because that means multiplication. And if we were to highlight one like that, we would highlight the product. We just kind of put like a little yellow between them because we know there's like an invisible sign of multiplication there. The product of R and 8. Okay. Moving on to the next one, the quotient of So quotient's going to be, again, division. Quotient, I want to highlight that, of a number, so we don't know the number, and 12. Okay, the quotient of a number and 12. Moving on, those are, like I said, 4 examples of just making expressions. Moving on, we're going to look at equations. Equations have equal signs. Okay, so equations are going to have equal signs, and it's best to tell you right now that the word is, okay, is means equal. Okay, so when you see that word is, that's going to mean equal, and these are ones that we could solve in the end. Our first example is, and we're going to highlight like we did last time, 7 more than means addition again, a number. So we don't know what that number is. We're going to put that variable there. Is, here's that is. Oops, and I should have gone first like this, but we can back it up. Is going to be here. 15. So the last part is the 15 there. Again, do you notice how everything that I've highlighted has a symbol, a number, or a variable that goes with it? Okay, you want to make sure that when we're doing these, you have those things highlighted and that you have something to go with each. The next one says 5 times, so that's nice and easy, right? I'm going to actually just put that little pink thing in there because we talked about just having the variable next to it. The number, so we don't know what the number is again. Wait, actually take that back. The number of students, and I'm going to use that letter S because we don't know how many students, okay? And that would be highlighted green. Is, and our final part of it, gotta get a new color here, blue, 250. Five times the number of students, we don't know how many, is 215. See how we cover everything with that? All right, that's going to be the end of our lesson here. Please make sure if you have any questions, ask your teacher now, and then to take the note check in iTunes U. Thanks.